All right, next game I want to go over to. We talked about it a little bit. This is kind of a game with two new head coaches. Both head coaches have left. Tulane against Ole Miss. The spread on this game is 17 and a half, and this is the over under is 56 and a half. This is a matchup that we've already seen early on in the year. Ole Miss kind of handily beat them, but that was obviously a Lane Kiffin Ole Miss, a Lane Kiffin led Ole Miss, and that was before kind of all of the chaos that the past few weeks have brought to that Ole Miss Rebels team after the Egg Bowl. So excited to see what the analytics are saying. I know those are kind of dynamics that are outside of just the pure analytics, but excited to see what the analytics say, what in-season AI is telling us about this game. So I'll turn it over to Christian. Christian, kind of what are you seeing? Let us know.
Yeah, so Ole Miss, we have them winning 83% of the time, and our conviction on this pick is high. When I say high, I mean, we're historically right on these around 87% of the time. So, we're pretty confident in our pick here with Ole Miss winning. And, kind of as you said, it's a little bit of a turbulent for both teams. And I think you can, Ole Miss more than Tulane, but still, I think that's something that you can probably kind of negate out a little bit more or less. And especially that they've played early on this year and we saw the outcome of that game. I would be surprised if there was anything else, inconsistent with that. And really one of the things that stands out to me is Tulane lacks on defense. And they really have all year. They've been able to make up a lot of ground this year on just high scoring in the American Conference. But, lacking defense against the SP9 ranked offense in Ole Miss, that's going to be a matchup that's just probably not going to favor Tulane. It didn't earlier in the year, and it probably still won't now. Trinidad Chambliss has been pretty great this year across the board. He's had up and down games, but overall pretty high consistency. And then I think the other thing is, Tulane's offense has been solid, not great, but solid. They're ranked 32 in SP+, but Ole Miss has a pretty solid defense at 20. So I think that, I don't have too much to say on this game. We saw the matchup earlier in the year. I would be shocked if there was any type of different outcome, even with Lane Kiffin leaving. Just because, the talent remains the same. And, this could actually be a little bit more of a motivation for them to kind of make a run in the playoffs. So that's kind of my high level views on that. But there's really nothing in the underbelly of these analytics that are saying, something different.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I think that the dynamic can go one of two ways in terms of Lane Kiffin leaving. It's either, you lost your head coach or play caller who, arguably was the most important head coach to a team just because of the play calling and all of the things that he did for that Ole Miss Rebels offense. So it could kind of go one of two ways. Either they kind of are out of sorts because they've lost that, or they say kind of like, screw you, we're going to win this whole thing without you. And just from the press conferences that we've watched from the new head coach, Pete Golding, who is their defensive coordinator, has now been promoted. It seems like they're kind of going that second route. So there could be a kind of a fun run to watch for the Ole Miss Rebels.
Yeah.
But it kind of starts with this game. And I know Tulane is not going to lay down, even with Coach Summerall leaving. He kind of left in a really good way, I guess you could say. He's donating to Tulane NIL and trying to leave them off better than he found them. So yeah. I'm interested to watch this game. But you're right. Kind of when you look at the analytics and you go through everything, it doesn't look like a matchup that's going to change from what we saw earlier in the year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're a Tulane fan, if you're an Ole Miss fan, college football fan that's just excited for the college football playoff, check us out on X, Instagram, TikTok. Comment, like, subscribe. Let us know what you like, what you don't like. Ask any questions about the analytics, about in-season AI or anything like that. We're always happy to answer that. And then become an in-season insider today by going to inseason.co. I'll also add a promo code and a link for that as well.